allow the children to the budget. It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. She off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey supposed talk through to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary Politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh.
Hello there. Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun live.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube, Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. Share this broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them that Maiyegun today, oh my lágbára lálẹ́ yìí, it go hot tonight. You'll be happy that you are here.
Politico, Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun, Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o, kẹ́gbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu. Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun number one. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdò.
But I hope a lot of you are currently catching up on the death of this young man and the developing story. There is more. And I want to share that with you tonight as well. Share the broadcast.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra jù. Àní ẹ̀ súnra jù. Lórí Facebook. Àní ẹ̀ súnra jù. lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé.
Another young bright mind killed by the Nigeria system. I'll tell you more tonight.
Maiyegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa bí. Àníyàn ìṣúra yìí. Maiyegun ti dé. Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Professor Wole Soyinka again.
Gómìnà kówó jẹ. Maiyegun máa bí. Àníyàn ìṣúra yìí. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá.
Respect the elders. Respect the elders is a very common, statement from those who want to bully you into silence. What do you say to lying elders? What do you say to intentionally gaslighting elders? What do you call them? Agbaya.
Maiyegun ti dé. Ayé ẹ̀sùnra yìí. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Mo ti dé o. Good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun, and this is live, especially if you joined us live. I hope you have managed to read the caption of the broadcast, the description of what this is going to be about tonight. Because of normal, or should I say expected reactions to that needless, unnecessary gaslighting from Confessor Wole Soyinka, Wole, I will try my best to make this more explanatory. Most importantly, for the sake of those of you who kind of have some, you grew up respecting this man and people like him. And for the sake of people like you who have this reserved respect for him, I am going to try my best to let you see that this is not about his work. This is not about his life. Most importantly, this is not about intentional, abusive, or vitriolic attacks. No. This broadcast is mainly about his political view and the veil, the fraud, the lie that is Wole Soyinka when it comes to his political view. Do you understand that? I know a lot of you are taking a lot of dig at him. No, I wouldn't want to do that tonight. Okay? He's a literary icon. Fine. Okay? A lot of us grew up reading some of his literary work. A lot of us were graded based on his literary work. So we're not going to, go into that. This is purely the political view of Wole Soyinka that should be put to question, not just by those who don't like him, including those of you who actually respect him. He's an old man now. And I also want to remind you that the common, that deceitful phrase, which is more like you cannot tell or question the elders because they are older than you, they have more experience than you, they have more life experience than you, and they have little to lose. So when you get to a certain age in your life, for example, the moment you begin to cross 70, that is a stage whereby you are more or less like, what else do you have to lose? Your old age should be for honesty, truthfulness, sincerity, and if you can add bluntness to it, that will be great. But when you cross that age, and what you remember to use that age for, as they say generally, from where I come from, Yoruba land, there is nothing we use old age or elderly for other than to cheat the young ones. They say that like it's actually normal thing. I don't know if that caveat will help you settling into the broadcast tonight. So this is reaction to a misleading statement from an elderly statesman. And just as we knew before now, the establishment is beyond the criminal politicians that you have their faces on your screen there. They have collaborators, they have enablers, and their job, as it's somehow schemed out for them, when they want to pretend to be criticizing the government, to you, you will think they are on your side. No. It is either there is something they wanted from that same government that they are not getting. The only way to get the attention of whoever is in charge was to raise some dust that will make it look like they are concerned about the country. The rest is esprit de corps. Business as usual. They speak the same language. They operate the same way, but they just have different identities and sometimes different callings. So let us take a little bit step back so that we can indeed get into this and understand the perspective of on what God's art is Confessor Wole Soyinka speaking from when he made a treasonable allegation, because that's the point of this. So the first time he spoke after the Charade violent elections that you had, and let us be very clear, okay? The problem a lot of you have, especially when you jump on MaiyegunsDiary Politico, is that when I speak about injustice, you tend to ignore that on this platform, the only thing that makes this platform more very, very vocal and very, very vibrant is because of the injustices in Nigeria. And the injustices in Nigeria has pushed many to further this kind of dissociate from the country, either physically or mentally, which has also fueled the different campaign groups who are demanding for the breakup of Nigeria, injustice in Nigeria. And it is not limited to one person or one group, okay? All they need is just one single, either make up reason, like call a dog a bad name, to hang it. The injustice is from the north, as it is from the north, so it's in the south, as it is from the Yorubas, for the Yorubas, so for the Hausas and then the rest, as the Igbos are suffering it, so our other tribes and the ethnic nationalities are suffering it. These injustices has kept Nigeria divided, has made the Nigerians in Nigeria to have less trust or no trust at all in the institutions called Nigeria, controlling Nigeria. Injustices. MaiyegunsDiary Politico always speaks on injustice, on these injustices, no matter whose ox is God, because when they do them, they justify the position that I have reached a while back, that if anyone cares about Nigeria, sincerely speaking, the first that will actually be on your mind right now is the campaign and mobilization for what is called the national conversation. Nigerians have been disjointed, divided, full of hatred towards one another. All they need is just a reason. And those who are kind of benefiting from this are the criminal politicians, their friends, who make up the entire establishment. Nigerians are the losers. So if I pick on the IPOB And you decided to justify it because I wanted to satisfy the Igbos and look good to them. Not because of the injustice. No, not to you. Eh? When I speak about those who have, including those who were deceived in northern Nigeria, that all they needed was just a northerner, a Muslim, to be president of Nigeria. The poverty, the terrorism, the insecurity, the underdevelopment, everything will be gone. Rather than for all this to be gone, for 8 years that I've been on here, talking about those who Nigeria have decided to kind of forgotten. The victims of kidnapping. These are not people from my side. The Shiites and the rest of them. So it is these injustices that Nigeria represents that gives this platform its voice. So if you are thinking you are on this side, and others are on the other side, okay, and to you, it doesn't matter. They deserve whatever comes to them. Injustice. You know something about the injustice? It doesn't discriminate. If you don't make move to stop it or end it, it doesn't discriminate. Those of you who are supporting it, you will become the victims of it too. So at the end of the day, what? I'm going to be talking about you. And I'm going to be using you as an example why Nigeria will never work. Because we know a country that will work, you will see the actions and the workings of those who are doing to make it work. But those who are in charge of Nigeria are not working to make Nigeria better. You are hoping and dreaming. Kind of, vivid imagination. And to somebody like myself, every day, there are enough justices to make me turn on my cameras. Turn on my camera here and begin to tell Nigerians who care to listen that if you are not a victim yet, don't worry. It will get to your turn. When it gets to your turn, you are likely not going to see anybody talk about you anymore because remember, you would want your oppressors, your criminal leaders, whether in PDP or APC, you want them to extinguish those you considered as their enemies because they are exposing them. So I'm very much, aware of that. And then when the game of gaslighting started, hang on to this. Before this Charade election, we knew those who threatened people. And we knew those who kept quiet. The silence of those who were supposed to be elder statesmen in Nigeria, religious bodies, their silence was so loud that it became deafening. A lot of you witnessed that. Some of you were even saying, hey, what is Kiniko saying about this? Why is Kiniko said something about this? And all of that. But there is something I figured out. The establishment is not just your politicians. The establishment includes your pastors, your imams, your babalawos, your professors, your doctors, your senior doctors, people that you have respect for, royal fathers. Because the way they work, it has to be hand in hand. When the criminal politicians, when they scheme to destroy the country through their greed and corruption, the elite, they will keep quiet. Because behind the scene, they are partaking. If they are not partaking directly themselves, they are partaking indirectly through different proxies. It is like a sort of a cabal. So only those who are outside it and really want to get in will raise dust, pretending to be like you. But the moment they have their chance, they will dump you and they will get on with it. So I studied that for a while. And that's saying that if you live long enough, Baba, your heroes will become villains. I'm talking about the people you call heroes. People you actually respect genuinely. People you love, people you will see in public and you have embraced. You know what this generation has managed to unravel is the fact that the moment the establishment lost the control of information, dissemination, here you get, that exposed
those who usually hide behind once in a while appearances on your media, doing some human and nature job, driving opinion and narrative, unsuspecting public, agreeing with them innocently. You know what I mean? It is the same thing with your churches and your mosques, where your religious leaders, who are also Nigerians, they are experiencing what others are experiencing, maybe in a reverse way, right? But when they gather and have an opportunity to discuss that with you, they will take it spiritual. They will deviate your mind. They will run you. They will put you on this shadow chasing, so that you will not have time to reflect on the actions and activities of these criminals. They work hand in hand. In 2015, meanwhile, just let's start it this way as well. Confessor Wole Soyinka, who is an old man now, very old man, is over 80, right? Normally, Confessor Wole Soyinka, a writer, decided to become an activist due to different injustices happening in Nigeria when he was young. Okay? He got to a point. This Confessor Wole Soyinka started a movement that participated in the political activity of that era, early 60s, early independence of Nigeria. Confessor Wole Soyinka happened to be one of those young Nigerians who had these great dreams, like those Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, all these guys are from Africa at the time. So they had this dream of what Africa should be after independence. So when these the politicians of the First Republic, when they started this political rascality, power monger and corruption, and electoral corruption, an election happened in that same early 60s, so 63, 64, that this Confessor Wole Soyinka, as a young man, disagreed with so bitterly, so angrily, that he got a gun. Yes, he got a gun. And he went straight to a radio station. He wrote a speech he purported to be from his own group, political group. And that political group has now taken over the government of Western region. Are you listening? The young professor, he held, after writing the speech, declaration speech, he went straight to the radio station with a gun, and he pointed the gun at the head of the broadcaster in the radio station, and he handed him that prepared speech, and he forced them to read the entire speech. And the speech was that they have declared somebody the premier of Western region of Nigeria against the declared winner by the electoral body. This professor did that too. During their own days, when they were in their 20s, they were more radical. Are you with me? That is why when you look at those who grabbed and seized Nigeria since 1966, go and check all their ages, 24, 25. The oldest among them wasn't older than maybe 33. These were people who took over Nigeria. That was how ambitious they were. That was how audacious they were. And that was how fascist they were. You understand? Like, it's either our way or nobody's way. This generation, they are holding phones to express their anger against a failed country. And this professor in his 80s, who is now a friend, a very bosom friend, his own children, they have enjoyed political patronage from the looters and the ruiners of Nigeria. His son became a commissioner of health in Ogun State because of his father's public figure. At a point in his life, they made him the chairman of the Road Safety Corps in Nigeria as a means of compensation as well. He's always been part of that. But at the same time, lived on the old glory that, remember Wole Soyinka? Wole Soyinka that took over radio station with using gun. Wole Soyinka that was declared wanted by Nigeria government during the war because he broke the Nigeria law by leaving Nigeria to Biafra, and he joined the Biafran army to fight Nigeria, and he was using his literary pen, which was at the time was described as more powerful than the sword and guns. Wole Soyinka defied the injustice in Nigeria when he was younger. He left Nigeria and he went to Biafra. But the older Wole Soyinka is angry with young people for not agreeing and obeying the order of the old order. And even that same Baba Soyinka, like all of us saw what happened. This is not even about Obi winning. That is where some of you are getting it wrong. You are getting it wrong. It's not about whether Obi will win or not. Whether Atiku or whether Tinubu will win or lose. You know what happened. All of you know what happened. They lied to these young people. They told them that if they are not happy, if they were not happy with the way Nigeria was being governed by APC, they should go and form political party. You all witnessed all of that now. Then they started their own political movement. A lot of you mocked them. You laughed at them. Abi? They were just 4 people tweeting in a room, but they were believing the lies they were told. They said, this is Nigeria. Nigeria is a great country. Election is going to be better. All you have to do is to get PVC. You all saw all of that. You were laughing at them. They had nobody to rig election for them. You know that. They had no money to pay the INEC that APC will not double or triple. How much will Labour Party gather in their online contribution of $10, $20, $50? How much money would they gather and pay INEC that will then rig election for them to win in Nigeria? How? You knew all of that. So you were laughing at them. When it comes to area boys, you call these local terrorists, thugs, political thugs, who are also on social media too, threatening, intimidating. You were laughing because you know that's Nigeria. That's Nigeria. But they were believing that the INEC Nigeria will do exactly what they said they would do. Okay? Everybody will want challenge us. Go to election. Abi, get PVC. Then it was time to give them their PVC. You started dumping PVC in soakaway, in gutters, in dump sites. I remember telling them, I said, if it's going to be an experience for you, me that you are now calling obedient today, you this Maiyegun, you are talking because your candidate lost. So Obi is now my candidate. You know why? Because all of us who were here a year ago, it was convenient to lie, to mock them. Shebi? Abi? And I was one of those who was telling you that, are you guys sure that you are actually going to mock these guys, that these guys are not going to disrupt this your political space? Maiyegun, forget. They have already written the results. Maybe so we all agreed. Election came. People will don't write results. People will get all the structure. They can't intimidate people, attack people. Can't they kill people? People will not get structure. People will not get money. Will not get INEC. Will not get anything. And all of you, you were waiting, you were watching them as if to say they deserved it. They deserve it, yeah? A lot of you actually said they deserved it. You want them. But what a lot of you didn't admit then was that you'd never expected them to do exactly what they did in 2023 election. Forget about winning now. They shocked the rest of you. Look at the whole system now. Look at the whole country now. Eh? Does that look like they were people you said they were, the people you were mocking a year ago? Today, you are now calling them the problem. You are calling them sore losers. You are denying everything that happened to them. After you told them that there will be nothing, so many of you were even putting money. You were saying that if they score 100,000, you will give them 1 million. If Obi scored this or that, you change everything to tribal war, religious war, and then you turned around. You put it on them. We are all watching everything now. So the regular problem of Nigerians, Stockholm syndrome, people like Wole Soyinka and many others, they are helping to change the narratives now. Peter Obi is causing problem to divide Nigeria. Obedient people, they must be dealt with because they hate Nigeria. Suddenly, all of you who love your criminals differently anyway, you are now changing the story. Ha! And that is why when people say, respect elders, should you respect elders who are liars too? Wole Soyinka came from nowhere after all of that. And he said, disobedient were fascists. Do you understand the meaning of fascism? Fascism is when you have people who harmed themselves after believing in an ideology, okay? And they believe that anybody who doesn't accept that ideology deserves to be killed. You either accept it or you die. That is what APC did now. Have you seen anywhere where you will say these people are Peter Obi supporters? And they just make the threat. And they said they are going to kill, or they are going to this, or they are going to disrupt this, or make any threat anywhere during, or let's say before, during, and after your charade elections. So that is what I told the obedient themselves. I said they will rig you out. They will rig you in a way that you will never believe it. Then they will tell you to go to court. And you will go to court as well. Then the court will make it, they will make it even worse. You will become angrier. Then you see those people who didn't say anything when all of that were happening, they will then start attacking you, and they will be making things up, okay? And they will be blaming you. Baba, that is why some of my friends here on MaiyegunsDiary Politico will call me, after calling me Gio, they call me prophet too. Because everything I said happened. And I said, when he came out and he called them fascist, because they are using their phones to say, no, this. All the evidence about forgery, all the evidence about drug smuggling, drug trafficking, forfeiture, they no matter to this person. These were the talking points of this generation. These young people, they were talking about a drug dealer as their president. Somebody who forged the school certificate is their president, a known kleptomaniac, and you are gaslighting them. I don't understand. So, as he dropped the lumber when he called them fascist, people reacted. Why would you say that? I mean, even if you want to blame us for being overzealous, we haven't attacked anybody. But you are not saying anything about these other criminal gangs and what they have done. I mean, we were talking about the destruction of Nigeria by his friend, Bokwari. The same Bokwari the friend to Confessor Soyinka, the state at which Nigeria is right now, subsidy remover, job losses, devaluation of Naira, and all these things that have made life more hard for the people. He had no statement. He had nothing to say about the destructive APC, Egbekegbe of Bokwari. So the first time he had a chance to say something, do you know what he just said? He said, Peter Obi, listen to this. He said Peter Obi is a Bajue 419. That he didn't win the election. Like I said, it's not about winning. Could people be at least honest that if INEC had followed their own rules, and if Tinubu has earned his elections, that everybody can see as everything happened, a lot of people will not realize that Peter Obi is just chasing shadow. In the middle of election, you stop the uploading of the presidential result alone. Others were working. And this is not concerning to the other statesmen in Nigeria that this is the genesis. If INEC had kind of followed their own rules, there would be nothing as worse as you are. Probably people will be complaining about vote buying, that they paid money. There will be no noise like this. But the likes of Confessor Soyinka, they would rather keep that to themselves. And right now, what he is now saying after calling them fascist is that Peter Obi is a liar. Labour Party knows that he didn't win any election. Sure you get. But there are some generals in Nigeria that are currently using Peter Obi to overthrow the government. Does that make any sense? This is a man of over 80 years old. This is a man that Fulani terrorist, called herdsmen, led their cows into his compound and he made breaking news. He had to run away from his own house for safety. This is a man that a lot of people actually respect so much, and they are fighting it within them to say what is actually on their mind about him because of how much respect they have for him. This is the man that just made an allegation. There are some retired generals. They are the ones using Peter Obi. They want to use him to overthrow Tinubu. She make sense. I'll show you.
These recent elections. It's unfortunate that because the two things happened, first of all. One party took over the labor movement, which is one of my favorite movements also. And then it became a regional party, more than, whereas it was a marvelous breach into the established two camps. Peter Obi achieved something remarkable there, that he broke that mold. Yes, however, he did not win the election. In addition, my own organization has a monitoring unit. You know the one I'm talking about. And so I could say categorically that Peter Obi's party came third, not even second. And that the leadership knew it. But they wanted to do what we call in Yoruba, Bajue. That is, you have force of arms. You also have force of lies. And it was gearing up towards violence. They were going to send some of the hardliners, were going to send crowds, young people, into the streets to demonstrate. I'm always ready to be among such demonstrators, but only on the banner of truth, not of lies, not of deceit.
Confessor Soyinka. So let us review what he just said. According to him, obedience movement took over Labour Party. It's a good idea. It's just like an abridgment between the two known political parties. So it would have been a breath of fresh air.
Professor Wole Soyinka just said that then the movement became a regional one. He is inferring that Labour Party became Igbo's party. Do you understand that? It said obedience movement became Igbo movement, which means it defeated the purpose that they thought the movement would represent. I mean, like an option to either APC or PDP. You know, when somebody, an elderly person, like that, when they make a statement like that as a matter of fact, do you understand? And then turn around to say, and they knew this, that the whole thing they are doing is now badue, like fraud. Even when he is the one who is a fraud, but he's an old man, elderly man, he can't be a fraud anyway. He can't lie. I mean, why would he lie? Now let's take a look at that. The regional movement of obedience defeated APC PDP in Abuja. The regional movement of obedience, they defeated APC inside Aso Rock, defeated APC inside Akpo Villa, defeated APC PDP at all of the military barracks and police barracks across Nigeria. The regional movement of Labour Party, they won a seat for Kaduna House of Rep. The regional movement of Labour Party, they won several seats as well. They won a presidential election in Plateau State. Won presidential election almost across all Nigeria except just two regions, northeast at northwest, and we know why. A regional movement. So Professor Wole Soyinka called somebody badue by just telling a lie. So, do you still think if you lose your home training because of somebody like that, do you not think it's worth it? Where somebody who is old, experienced, but because of his relationship with those who are now in charge of government, those who have been there, APC, Egbekegbe, his own sworn enemy probably defensed him out all through 16 years of PDP. Obasanjo defensed him out. And it was easier to team up with a drug lord. To team up with a coupist, a genocidist, to team up with other criminals, and then to deceive Nigerians that they are coming to bring in change to Nigeria. 8 years after that, Nigerians are poorer, Nigeria are more terrorized, Nigeria is more corrupt, Nigeria is in a generational indebtedness. The human rights, scale in Nigeria is zero. Safety for Nigerians in Nigeria is zero. 8 years after that, and the rogues who brought Nigeria to this state, they are still enjoying all the loot. But tell me now, if you lose your home training because of somebody like this, you could what? Somebody that was also struggling because of Ijekuje. Ijekuje. Most of them that are just like courtesy, they call them courtesy. The politicians need them because with them, they can validate the crime and the criminality they are perpetuating in office. All they need is when your royal father now go to Abuja to go and meet your oppressive government. When you are talking about the the criminal government and you see your royal father standing next to him or next to them, a lot of you will be put off immediately and say, I don't want to say anything. Now my royal father did there, so I don't want to say anything. That's my bishop. I know what I would have said, though, if my bishop is not the one that is visiting them. All these things are psychological conditioning. And when they come out like this to lie, you begin to be like, where is their own sincerity? Because in Yoruba land, we have the Agbalagba, the good elders. We have the Agbayas, the useless elders. Okay? So we have Agbaoshi, the unfortunate elders. Okay? And I bet a lot of you have the same in your different ethnic nationalities too. Okay? So somebody who was struggling to talk about the relationship of his with the criminals, they were at least patronizing him then. I have a clip I'm going to share with you again in case if some of you will remember this. I never knew that Tinubu was a rice trader. I never knew that Confessor Soyinka was a rice trader. But, you know, in their own elite circle, where they are massaging themselves ego, when they say Tinubu is here, Fashola is there, Kiniko is here, Professor Wole Soyinka is there, they will now give him a special share. I will say Reverend Kuka is there. They say Archbishop Kiniko is there. Sultan of Sokoto is there. They will now put them in the front. They will say the distinguished guests in a space where they want to massage their egos, and sometimes a way to expose themselves. Now, Soyinka be this, though. I never know saying be right straight out. I bring this back to you, ladies and gentlemen.
As you know, he was a fugitive offender, like many of us here. Many other things. Former governor of Lagos State. But you see, and a businessman, or some of us within the anti-Abacha movement would not have survived. But then even for businessmen, successful businessmen, there comes a crunch. And during our period of exiled resistance, we looked for all means to raise funds, including even trying to print redeemable bonds. I think we did print redeemable bonds. We were so confident of victory that we said, look, let's print bonds and sell those bonds, and the opposition triumphs. And we designed those bonds. Incidentally, you may not remember this, apparently the symbol that we used during that time, which was supposed to be symbolic of growth, because it was a shrub. Apparently, that shrub looked very much like marijuana. We didn't know it at the time. Somebody pointed it out later on. But finally, Bola said, what are we going to do? We have to find funds. I said, well, you're the businessman. What can you do? I said, well, I've heard that there's a rice line between Taiwan and other places. I think that I can get a contract to sell rice between Taiwan and Africa. So I said, well, okay, go ahead and sell rice. He said, yes, but you see, they require letters of recommendation. And I said, well, so you have to write one. I said, me, I don't know anything about rice. I don't know anything about business. Nobel laureate. Write and say, we are trading in rice. Give the letter to me. I will take it to the government of Taiwan, and they will supply the rice. I will sell. I will use the money for the revolution. Then, after I came, we all came back. My house had been more or less made inhabitable, and I took a sort of pied-à-terre, a small place in Lagos where my house was being fixed. I began living there, but I found the work was so...
Show me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are. So these are the characters that a lot of us actually grew up. We didn't know what was going on behind the scene. So that was Confessor Wole Soyinka, where he was kind of making up a story. You know, he's a storyteller. He's a writer. So he can stand there and make up anything. You know? So the picture he was painting there was that when they were fighting Abacha, and they were in exile, okay, Tinubu approached him because they needed money. They printed bond. Who did they sell the bond to? Bond on what? And people are sitting down, the educated people and some other clowns there. They were savoring them because those are the stories that you will take out of that guy. You'll be telling people in your office. You'll be telling your children. You'll be telling a lot of people. And these are just fabu lies. But behind the scene, he said Tinubu is a businessman. Nigerian David Dundeyi, you might possibly help us take a look at the Taiwan rice route. Wole Soyinka knows about the Taiwan rice route. So maybe if we dig better, you are likely going to find a lot. Because according to Confessor Soyinka, they made a lot of money from moving rice. And all Tinubu needed was just Confessor Soyinka's signature. Okay? Just to play along. Remember Osh Poppy? Yeah, Osh Poppy. Osh Poppy has the friend. And his name is Osh Taylor Kyari. Now, Osh Taylor Kyari is known in Nigeria as a senior anti-crime police officer nationally. Somebody who is fighting crime anywhere he show face. But he happened to be a friend to Abbas, Osh Poppy. Now, while Osh Poppy was running his scam, he needed Osh Taylor to help him arrest some other as who might want to disrupt his business at the time. So Osh Taylor had to go on, use the position of a police officer and arrested a fraudster, a Yahoo boy, and locked him up for another Yahoo boy elsewhere to complete the fraud. So what's the difference? Show me your friends and I can tell you who you are. You can't lie to me and then I see who you work with, who you roll with, and then you turn around and say, I'm only just, I'm guessing wrong. I'm not guessing. I'm saying it as it is. Confessor confessed there that he told Tinubu to use his name, write the letter, do whatever, I will take it to Taiwan government for you. They will release the rice. What kind of rice? When was Tinubu a businessman, a trader? Trading between Taiwan and Africa. Which part of Africa? Guinea-Conakry. We know, So, Confessor Wole Soyinka has raised, and recently they have been saying that they have to arrest Peter Obi because of all of you. The obedient. You are using your phones. They are scared that you are going to mobilize and eat the streets. The people have been on the streets for months now. In Syria alone, after the fraudulent election, people have hit the streets. In Nigeria, they will tell you to leave it for God. Because if you hit the streets, you are going to disrupt the entire establishment plan and their money-making enterprise called Nigeria, which happened to be a territory, not a country. Somebody did an explanation about country, nation, states, and territory. And Nigeria actually fell into territory. Listen to this one.
Have now been pushed to the fringes, talking about and believing, and the belief that Nigeria truly should be one.
We need by resolving a conceptual crisis. What do I mean by a conceptual crisis? Quite often when we speak about Nigeria, we collapse the distinction between country, state, and nation. We tend to think that the three mean the same. We tend to think the three are synonyms. A country is a territory. From the Latin contra terra, the land that lies ahead of you. A country is a territory. It is not necessarily a nation. A nation is an association of peoples, and I use that word in the plural deliberately because of diversity. A nation is an association of peoples who identify their shared core values. And on the basis of their shared core values, they give themselves a constitution which will now establish institutions that make up the state. What we have in Nigeria and in most African countries is a confusion where we think the nation is the state. The nation is reduced to the state. We have a country quite all right by the fact that we live within a territory, even if that territory is not secure, as we all know. But we don't have a nation. We have institutions that make up the state. We collapse the nation into the state. If you look at our constitution, section 2 of the current constitution, and you don't find this in the 1963 constitution, it ascribes sovereignty not to the people but to the state. That is dangerous. That means the state has the last say on any question. That means the state is more powerful than the citizen. That is a recipe for impunity. Because as we all know, the state is the head of state, or the governor, or whoever represents them. Whatever they say, we all have to comply, whether they're right or wrong. So we don't have a democracy in the true sense of the word.
Oh my God.
And until we have that, until we build a nation, we can't even talk of unfinished greatness. And I have to make a critique of the title of Governor Fayemi's book. It presupposes that that is unfinished. I am saying we have not even started the project.
Oh my God.
And we need to stop deluding ourselves. What are our shared core values? What are the things that bring us together, apart from the super egos? You know, when I had this experience, 2013, I was visiting a place called Do in Plateau State. The Plateau State governor is here. I got to Do the Friday before the Nations Cup final between Nigeria and Burkina Faso. And there was tension everywhere. But on Sunday night, when Nigeria won the game, the final match, the tension dissipated. And most people forget the fact that a young man from southeastern Nigeria received the ball from a young man from Pankshin who had to leave Nigeria because his parents were killed. Victor Moses passed the ball to Sondemba. Sondemba scored the goal. And we didn't even ask about the local government of origin of the scorer of the goal. So what are our shared core values? If you ask the Americans, they talk of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We don't have one. And it is when we begin to identify our shared core values that we begin to build a nation. What we have right now is a state held together at gunpoint. And when the state begins to oppress the citizen, there'll be cries of marginalization, there'll be secessionist and separatist agitation, there'll be insecurity. Now we have set up Nigeria to be a place where the state is more powerful than the citizen, and the state is oppressive. We need to retrace our steps. Quite often, Nigerians ask, which is the way forward? And I say, if you are moving in the wrong direction, you shouldn't be going forward. You should make a U-turn.
Need I say more? I'm not going to ruin it for you. I am going to let you digest everything he said there. Nigeria is not a state, okay? Nigeria is a state. I mean, Nigeria is not a state of a shared value. Nigeria is a state that is forced together by the force of gun. And in all honesty, what he said, the last statement, that if you are going on a wrong direction, there's no point in asking what is the way forward other than for you to make a U-turn and go a different direction? When there is injustice, it will fuel and create, so it will create and fuel all these separatist groups. They will have people because they will always, like I said, the state is more powerful than the citizens. The citizens cannot choose their own leaders. A country that's practiced democracy for 24 years cannot conduct election where citizens can choose. Now, citizens cannot, the state is more powerful than the citizens. So what you have is, you have the impunity, right? The next you are going to have is going to be an implosion. So that last statement of if you are going a direction and you can see there is no road there and it's a wrong direction, the next thing is to make a U-turn and go back. It's not different from us saying if you are doing same thing again and again and you are expecting a different result, it's a sign of madness. Insanity, but madness. But these guys want us to continue to go that direction. They want to continue to gaslight the young people whose life and future are being gambled away. They don't care. Of course, there are other young people who don't care too. Fine. They may not care about their own lives. But if you want to run a country, you cannot run a country this way. Gaslighting young people and changing their demand, changing their views to something that it is not. And then expecting, setting them up. Ignoring all other danger that they have to actually endure. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? This happened, and it never, I don't think it ever moved him. Confessor. God, okay, I think it's this.
Please, if you don't want to wait for us, please sit down for sit down for
when the police was notified of that video a day before election, and then on the day of election, the police came out and they said he was joking. People were bleeding due to the attacks from these local terrorists, especially in Lagos. Police said, well, it is, it is disobedient, this Igbo. They were saying no man, I mean, this Lagos is no man's land, and they were justifying it. None of these guys was ever either questioned or arrested or tried. Okay? But you see those who are pressing phone, Abba, they are the real enemy. And that is the narrative that those who are supposed to be the elders, who are seeing all of this, instead of them to be honest and truthful, at least don't destroy your own graves. Be honest, be truthful. What do you have to lose? What? At that age. But they would rather work with their, what do you call it, the same oppressive system, okay, in order to further cage you. And if the system is going to kill you, they will be the first to come out and say, you deserve that because you are pressing phone. Somebody had this for him.
My fraternal greetings to everyone. Today I want to talk about the incoherence upon incoherence of Wole Soyinka. Enough is enough. We've tolerated this man for a long time. It's a big shame to the literary community. Wole Soyinka, you are simply and squarely one of the intellectual idiots we have in this country. You are a man without principles, a thoroughbred and incurable hypocrite. That's what you are, and nothing less. No wonder it is argued that the so-called Nobel Prize you won in 1986 emanated from the boardroom of politics. And now it is true. Your attitude, your everything, your actions and inactions give credence to those assertions. If we want to talk about men of integrity, let's begin with the contemporaries. Are we talking about Chinua Achebe, the immortal sage and father of modern African literature? Are we talking about J.P. Clark, Africa's most lyrical poet? Or are we talking about Neo Sundare, the scourge of tyrants? Or are we talking about Christopher Okibo, who lived and died for what he believed in? Are we talking about Gabriel Okara? Who are we going to juxtapose you with, Wole Soyinka? Those names I mentioned are names that we can all go to invoke as a source of pride and for moral inspirations. They are men who have engraved their names on the marble of integrity. Unblemished men, men of integrity, men who are conscious of their good names, their global good names. But that is not you, Wole Soyinka. Your son served as a commissioner for health in Ogun State. He destroyed the health sector in that state, looted everything and left. He left the health sector in Ogun State in shambles. That is your own son. Which of the sons of your contemporaries has smeared their father's name in that way? Mention one. Today's government is 100 times worse than the GEJ's government. None of you came out to protest. You even wrote describing the wife of GEJ as a hippopotamus and the president himself, GEJ, as a King Nebuchadnezzar. But everything happened in this government, people like you never came out to protest. But a few days ago, you came out to call the youths fascist and talking rubbish. Please go and sit down.
Are you following? I mean, let us be truthful. Don't be hypocrite. I mean, if you want to be, if he says he's a member of APC, at least you will deal with that. That we are okay, we are dealing with APC member. Why are you hiding behind that name? That name that a lot of people actually grew up and they were like, that iconic image and all that. Why would you actually throw all of that out? And then go straight after the young people who are fighting for their lives. And you leave out those who are actually publicly, online, offline, threaten people because of where they come from. Then you turned around. The same Wole Soyinka just turned around and said, obedient movement is Igbo movement, but he couldn't say it. Just exactly what the APC, always kind of, So you are the wrong ones, bad losers. Bad losers. They want to burn Nigeria. They want to overthrow Tinubu. So that's dog whistle. So when those ones start talking now, they will say, Professor Wole Soyinka already said it now. Do you know that they are already working to overthrow Tinubu and install Peter Obi? That's how stupid they can be. Oh. I'm not going to be surprised though. They are already calling for his arrest. A fraudulent election that has divided Nigeria instead of uniting Nigeria. A ruined country by the APC, that deserves no political office again in Nigeria, in all sense of it. Oh. APC, PDP, they should never be seen anywhere. But look at what they are doing. And all of you, the humbled slaves, generational slaves, you already shared your oppressors. You are fighting for PDP, fighting for APC, and you are telling them, he's the Igbo. Igbo will never be kiniko, like in a country whereby they force all of you together. Do you think you have a country? Do you think so? Well, time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get to that part where I'm going to take calls, I am about to take you on a journey that is likely going to leave you in tears and angry. Okay? Ordinarily, I am not a fan of this Nigeria young talent. I don't really, not like their musical, because I kind of have all this selection of music in my car. That's the only time I actually listen to music, when I'm inside my car. But I don't really know this guy. 3 days ago, there was a breaking news. And thanks to Twitter, when the news broke that a young talent called Mohbad is dead.
the reactions of everybody was like, I think that brought back the memory of, for somebody like me, when I kind of started following, what happened? What was that? Like, what happened to him? That Green was the one that came to my own. Like, well, in my own time, it was that Green that was this young, sharp talent that some of us just keyed into. I bet those who were older then, were wondering what was that Green singing. Because that's how I feel now. When I listen to some of their songs, I'm like, what's that? But you see, this young man, they announced that he is dead. Kilo Shele. How could a young man just die? Then information started filled. This is him. 27 years old. So I didn't know him sincerely. But I know about the Marlians. And I think I've spoken about the Marlians one time ago. If some of you have been a regular on MaiyegunsDiary Politico, if you remember, when they arrested Naira Marley for credit card fraud. You remember that time? And it was kind of displayed. And then I was like, well, I was digging, Naira Marley has always been like a criminal, but you can say he's a reformed criminal. This guy was arrested for drug running. What is that called? Possession of drug to distribute. He was a drug dealer at the age of 19 years. He was arrested for drug dealing. He was arrested for sexual assault. He was arrested for armed robbery in Lewisham in London when he was just 19. So to some people, it was like he turned his life around. And look at him, a great talent, okay? Is like, inspiring other young people to use their talent, okay? To what? To change their lives instead of going into life of crime. So it was like that. But how come after that fame, they arrested him for credit card fraud in Nigeria? What did they stop? They were actually into a lot. And the death of this guy, this young man, has opened a can of worm. And this is not even just Naira Marley anymore. And it was after the announcement of his death that I realized that Nigerians, they have celebrity criminals. Celebrity criminals, Ike. Celebrity criminals do. If you are on, for example, now if I am live like that, I am live now. These celebrity criminals, mostly in Lagos anyway, they can come around and just drive down right now. And they can come and drag me out of my house when I'm still live here. And they will now start their own life where they are beating me up because I just insulted one of them. Or I just said something that they didn't like. They said these celebrity criminals in Nigeria, they have their own police guard, they have their own this, you know what I mean? They are so that when we started tracing more, everything entered the Tinubu backyard, As people are talking about Mohbad and everything that happened to him, all the information that started coming out, drug dealing, entertainment industry in Nigeria, drug dealing and drug running and drug selling and all of that. And those who are running all these places and all these things, they have direct connection with Pablo Escobar. As then they go to Dubai with him, then they go to Mecca with him, they are in Abuja with him, they are everywhere. You can't touch them. You can't report them. Wait. Are you serious? Maiyegun, you have no idea. These ones are not NURTW. They are like courts. The name of their own court group. It's not like your regular court. This one's like, they're like father of all courts because they have the political connection. That if Tinubu became president means if you cross their line, Baba, if you cross their line, Otilo Niel. When I was following the whole thing for the first time, when I saw the life of this young man, what they did to him, even what they are still doing right now, even after his death, Baba, I realized that I may be like a strong man. If I happen to be in Nigeria, they go shape me or kill me. Trust me, the fear alone that you have nobody to report them to. You are on your own. They will kidnap you. Okay? Beat you. Bloody. Make video of it. brag about it, and warn others that if you see what we do to Maiyegun, catch you. I said, eh? He said, Baba, no cross them. Oh. Now, let me now tell you the story. Mohbad, based on what I have managed to pick so far. Now, you see this young man, few years back, okay? He's originally from Korodu, okay? That came from a very, very humbled background. Now, you know, these days, if you are good, once you put your content on social media, online, and it goes viral, if you are really good, you are likely going to get, what do you call it? You're going to get the attention you need, and you may get support and sponsor. So this young man, Mohbad, they said, with all his own boys, all his guys within the hood in Ikorodu, doing their freestyle here and there. One of their freestyle video made it online, and it went viral on TikTok or so. Like millions of people saw it. It was around the time that Naira Marley was also kind of reigning. So he started the Marlian record. Now, in that Marlian record, it was like a record to rehabilitate and help young people from the hood. So that you saw those big album, what do you call them? All big producer, you know, labels. They call them labels. All those big labels. Most of them are not really interested in this young talent. So Naira Marley attracted these young kids, including Mohbad. And since they had their own audience online, and then Naira Marley himself had his own audience online, it was like all they needed to do was just to stream. So to them, this guy was dropping hit after hit. And Naira Marley was also their own key into the entertainment show world, which means it will ensure that he booked them for show and they get paid apart from the streaming money and all that. That was the arrangement. Okay? But it wasn't long that people sensed that they started having problems. What could be wrong? Is it money? What could be this or that? So they said Naira Marley was accusing him of drug overuse. Okay? That is gotten so bad that he will just forget his own password. Password to his Instagram, password to his social media account, password to his bank account. You know, it's like forgetful. To make it worse, is forgetting his own line when they are trying to like record or they are performing elsewhere. So it's sort of like he's losing his mind, kind of. And the guy was like, no. Okay? The rumor has it that bringing all of them together, the intention of their talent for music, there is more underneath. Many of them were subjected to ritual oath taking. Now, that could be speculation, no problem, but I heard it. All right? Ritual oath taking that they will be loyal to their group, which happen to now look like more or less like not a label, okay, record label, but a cult group. And they said this guy kind of rejected or so. So they said they gave him time. Remember, he's already there. Everybody already seeing his face and all that. Oh, he signed a contract, so there shouldn't be any issue. But during all of that time, they said behind the scene, they were giving him time to think about it. Because underneath, it is not just that music. When I say drug, some of you think it's about drug abuse. This is not even just about drug use now. They were using these young men as drunk mule. You know what is called that? Drug mule. Mules are mules who are like, you will see them as stars, but they are also drug peddlers, selling drugs, and then sometimes they use them in ferrying drugs out of Nigeria. Do you understand that? A very serious allegation, Abi. I did my findings, Baba. That's how much shocked I am. No, at that point, they said, When Naira Marley was accusing him, really an intended plan man to leave him. It was I was going to leave the arrest, and you can't just leave. No, leave. So you now go out there and what? Go and tell everybody about what? So they put up a PR together. A PR together to make sure that number one, the fact that he's not following what they're asking him to do, he must be punished until he comes back to his senses. Then another thing is that they need to let the world know that if he starts saying anything or he starts behaving somehow, it is because he's a drug addict. And he, Naira Marley, knows him very well than anybody might say out there. So they started a PR, okay? But at the same time, Baba, they started bullying him. I'm not talking about threats, I am talking about physical beating. Bloody face, bloody nose, bloody, beat him like a superstar. Ha! Baba, at least in today's time, in this day and time, these are guys who have intellectual properties that are being streamed by millions and millions of people every day. These guys have billions of streaming and all that. They are superstars to their generation. But guess what? The Lagos thugs, the Marlian, all of them is not Naira Marley that they fear much. It is the force behind him. You remember, these are young men from very, very poor background. When I say very, very poor, I'm talking about the hood. You understand? That every opportunity is like a blessing. Omo, they have signed me the 5 million naira, Marlian record. I know just need to continue and work hard. Maybe one day me say I'll be superstar. It's an opportunity for them. Only to realize that they only assemble them for drug running. A very big allegation, Abi. Okay. Guess what happened? They started hunting him everywhere. It's like saying everywhere you see him, beat him. If he says they should go and get him from his house, they will bring him and they will beat him. Bloody nose, bloody mouth, everything. It got to a stage. He reported to the police. Okay? He petitioned the police that they should save his life. That these guys want to kill him. He's going into depression. He's done nothing wrong. And all of that. This was in June this year. Okay? And the police ignored him. You know why? Remember that the same Naira Marley, this one is NDLEA ambassador. Remember that. Okay? And that's his own mugshot there. Okay? When they were looking for him, wanted at the age of 19, a drug dealer at the age of 19 in London, a drug dealer, what do you call it? A sexual assaulter, and on. Now, just so you know that when he now go back to Nigeria and he's now Naira Marley, you see that guy on the right, his name is Sam Larry. Now, Sam Larry is a celebrity criminal. People know him on Instagram, on TikTok. They have another one called Abu Abel. Abu Abel is also another another celebrity criminal. These guys have connections in almost major places of the world. In London, they can track anybody down in London, right? Deal with you, beat you up and all of that. And you know what I mean? Like, even kill you if they have to, right? So that was when I was like, celebrity criminal, on the celebrity criminal, wow. How many of you remember that NSAS guy? His name is Adagun. Adagosha. Do you see him? So Now, you see on the left, the one at the top left, that happened to be the spokesperson for the Nigerian police force. Here you get now. Those are their connections. So Abu Abel, Sam Larry, they are the terror to some of these young talents in Nigeria and even outside Nigeria. Here you get, they can always get people to come and. Now you see that Sam Larry is also the one circled at the bottom picture. Here you get, with Tinubu